Lord, God is awesome. Sometimes I just marvel at his majesty. I marvel at how he is totally in control, whether we like it or not. I tell you, I want you to have your ears on if you will, because God has something to say to everyone here. No one's excluded. To all the young people and the young at heart, whatever, please, in the name of Yeshua, listen to what God has to say. It's left up to me. As far as I am, I know where I'd be in bed. But I got to do what he said. Amen. And it's amazing that I really wanted to call the preachers and everyone to wish them a happy new year and all that. And the Lord said no. I said, well, okay, that was good enough for me, but it's nothing against them, because then I would have been out of order because of what they taught and what they prayed about. Now, if you had your ears on, you heard something. Now, if you listen to the word, you'll have a better understanding of everything. They looking at me like I'm strange. Yes, I meant just what I said. You will understand some things if you're willing. Now, I'm telling you what I'm going to preach about, and I want you to hope you had your ears on. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Got quiet, didn't it? But now don't get bent out of shape now. I think we had a young man here. His birthday was what? He was 8 years old, wasn't it? Isn't that what I heard? Yeah. Another one of my sweet babies was 9. And another was 14. Just divide, you'll come up with 7. You see what I'm saying? Sister Birdsong may are just doing what she does, but it spoke volumes, because we're going to talk about 7, 8, 9, and if the good Lord give me time, we'll get to 10. Maybe not this week, but what are we saying? We know it's biblical mathematics. The year 2007 is past, but the actual number 7 means completeness. Spiritual perfection, but none of us will ever be perfect, but we'll have spiritual maturity. 8, we know what we just came, new beginnings. And you can't deny that God did some new beginnings this year, and not last year, can you? No. In the history of mankind, I think y'all talk about Obama, but that's a new beginning. If you can put your head around that one. Not counting the other things that he's done that nobody can even explain. New beginnings, new beginnings. Now, you can look in your own life. You can look at this church. I've been talking about getting on the internet for how many years? But now God said, yeah, it is, new beginnings. We're on that now. But what I'm saying, much things have happened. Yes. Now we're into 9. 9 represents in God's book the fruits of the Spirit. Through divine completeness, things that you need to do. God said, divinely, I will give you that. Now, you can believe it if you want to. That's all right with me. Yes, but it's fruit of the Spirit. Divine completeness from who? Not from a book, but from the Lord. Okay, and if you just use common sense, when we get to 10, you'll understand even some of the certain religions who have taken what God has ordained and try to make it fit their own thing. But we'll get into 10, where there was 10 folk had to be a synagogue or a tabernacle. That's what you have to have. There's how many commandments in the church? Okay, so nothing new under the sun. But in order for us to wrap our minds around this, please, if you will, and We'll let the Lord speak to you. Turn to Ecclesiastes, the 11th chapter. That particular chapter, I don't know why, I never paid attention until now. It had 10 verses in it. See, something he don't let you see until it's time to do it. But I want you to get the etymology of this now. This is 209. God says, I have divinely completed some of you with the spiritual gifts, if not all of us. That whatever I have charged you to do in 209, you don't have to let them see you sweat. You're going to do it. Now, don't get book on it so you don't think I'm up here trying to do what I... No. I'm going to tell you what the word says. Now, whether or not you want to inculcate it in your own mind, that's up to you. Verse number 1, and everybody got that because I want you to ride with me. We're going to be in and out, going all around the book, so you can confirm that I'm not making this up. It says here, cast thy bread upon the waters. Now, in this case, I have to, even with a little semicolon, that means, hey, let's give them a little more information about that now. When it means casting thy bread, but keep in mind now, this is the man that operates under the S-U-N, but it still has spiritual significance. It says, cast thy bread upon the waters. In this context, those waters represent people. Okay? Thy bread. How do we put that? There's a song called, say, bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. What did Jesus said he was? The bread that came down from heaven. Now, isn't that what the book says? I may have paraphrased a little bit, but we'll make sure. We're talking about the bread, the knowledge, the understanding that God has given you through his what? Divine appointment in 209, that you are able to cast that bread upon the waters, meaning the people. Now, it's important that you understand that it's that time God said you ready. This is not me saying this. God said you ready. Ready to do what? Cast your bread upon the waters. Why? For thou shalt find it after many days. Now I heard the prayers about loved ones and all of that, and you know some of them, even a child's hand pops straight up. So they got to enough to know what's going on. But what you have to do is, by casting your bread, is just being what Jesus told you to be, the light and the salt. You set the example to the best of your ability. Now remember now, all we got to do is cast the bread. It didn't say the bread that folk got to eat it. That's up to them. You cast it by what? How you live, how you act. But see, and neither you worrying about what's going to happen because it ain't in your hands anyway. You just cast the bread. And he says, for thou shalt find it after many days. What does that mean? Before the day of the Lord, you better hope they find it. But after that, it's over with then. Now, so you can understand that we're not talking about, I know a lot of preachers try to use this to get money out of folk, but that's not what this means. It does mean that you need to trust God enough to tithe. All of that's wrapped up in here, in that one verse, to cast thy bread upon the waters. We know that at this time they had an agrarian society. That means you got to give some of your earnings. All that's tied in there, but this is not the emphasis now. The emphasis is that you who have been taught the word. One thing I would say, I may not be the greatest preacher in the world, but I guarantee you I'm going to teach you the word. I'm going to do the best I can. I can't make you eat the bread, but I'm going to prepare it. Now, what are we saying here? Now look at the next verse. It will begin to expand it. He says, this is where you begin to sow. It says in Mark, sows the word. Y'all read in the Bible? Okay. It says, give a portion to how many folk? Now that's where I got the 7 from. It's in the book. Am I making this up? 7 in the book, ain't it? Now, I don't know which one of y'all can deal with 7. God does. Now he said, now listen, give a portion to 7. Now there's a conjunction. And also to 8. I don't know which one God's going to open the door.